Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Karen Mikowski, aka Butterfly Karen. Welcome. So welcome to this evening's, well, this afternoon's, it's a little early today, interactive remote viewing session. Just before I forget, I've got to just quickly state, my last video, IIDR43, not 45, I made this, because again, I'm always on sort of different, when I'm channeling on different timelines and everything, so it's weird, because when I was working on that session, I must have been on a slightly different timeline, ahead of time in the future a little bit, because I really believe, I don't know, maybe I was sort of already foreseeing and working on IIDR45, but it wasn't, it was just IIDR43, so there's something going on there. So just a quick correction. So tonight I'm going to be working on IIDR44. It happens, it's time's like irrelevant and all that kind of stuff. So, and sometimes you can get dates wrong, you can get times wrong, you know, it's not like a Freudian slip or anything like that. It's just when we're here physically, physicality, 3D, right, our minds are in a completely different timeline and everything on fifth dimension and or whatever dimension we're connecting to. So there can always be the odd like little just a mistake, you know. It's not the end of the world, is it, right? So, before I get started, then it's it's Tuesday, November the 5th of November, 4:35 p.m. So, 11:24 clocking in at 4:35 p.m. Oh, remember the 5th of November, 1605, well, as we would say in England, the British, it's bonfire night tonight in the UK, so, but it's known as Guy Fawkes night. Guy Fawkes is literally the gunpowder plot member who was pretty much guarding the gunpowder at the time. He was arrested, that he was going to be blowing up the Houses of Lords. So interesting sort of little back fact, that's what today is all about. So when everybody in England right now and the UK is like, you know, having bonfires, they're burning Guy Fawkes on their bonfires, and not literally but they, you know, they're having bonfire night, and I love bonfire night. Yeah. That's little things like that I miss, but fireworks and just good old cheer, but freedom. That is the 5th of November. Remember the 5th of November and fireworks approach. So now, okay. Now I'm going to come to this morning's download, but I'm finding everything incredibly relevant right now, because I'm going to have to read a little bit of a scripture. I mean, I don't really follow, my life does not roll on religious scriptures. I'm a spiritual minister, but that does not mean sometimes I like to just sort of revert to them for a little bit of sort of spiritual clarity. Now, one of my videos, I believe it was there was IIDR. I believe it was IIDR? One of my intuitive intelligence videos. I think it was like 6 or 7. No, I think it was IIDR 7. I think it's my 7th dimension video. I was discussing, and that was back in, like, I believe it was like the end of January, the beginning of February, and there was this, I was getting the hit from the higher order, like, the construct of Genesis is broken. And I didn't really have much to elaborate on that, but that's all I really sort of got, and I'm thinking, well, okay. But for the last couple of weeks, I keep hearing it, like, the higher orders, like, the construct of Genesis, oh, excuse me, is broken. I'm like, okay. So, because of that, I wanted to sort of like, okay, well, elaborate, you know. And then I was hearing, like, I had to read out, like I even wrote it in my little Bible, like my Bible, right, the construct of Genesis is broken. So, I'm just going to quickly read out, oh, I'm going to need my blooming short-sighted glasses for this one. Oh, chapter 3, verse 3, is it? Okay. Just going to quickly look, because this is where I felt like it was, I was zoning, like, okay, well, just show me which clearly it's in the Bible. Just show me where the problem is. Well, symbolically, this is pretty much the start of all the problems with humanity. So, depending on how you're going to look at this and how you want to interpret it. And then if you look at the state of society today, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Ye have God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, and then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be of gods, knowing good and evil. I'm sorry, wow, that's so weird. I just felt like I had to repeat that. I went, wow. Okay, I'm still going to keep going with it because... And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Lord God amongst the trees of the garden. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard my voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to me with thee for the love of God. She gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. The construct of Genesis is broken. So that's Genesis, verse 3. You know, I get it. I understand the wicked ways in which you can sort of be tempted, beguiled, and all this kind of stuff. It's not like, it's temptation, right? That is the problem with society. It's been the problem since, I guess, the dawn of man and woman, depending on what you believe. But this is what happens when you're, even in the 21st century, that level of temptation is as strong as ever. The temptation to be wicked, do wicked things, you know, eat the fruit of the garden that you should not be eating out of. Now, as that was coming in this morning, I was like, okay, I'm going to clearly discuss this. But the download I was getting, was all to do with, I don't really know what the title is, probably something like courting, dating basically, and marrying handlers. It was awful. It was all to do with handlers. Look at the bigger picture. Look at the big screen right now. Look at what's going on around us in society. All of these fake gods, right, that you're glorifying, that you're looking up to, and you're tempted by these people. You're influenced by these people into temptations. So you're worshipping false gods, right? And you want to be like them, and you want to, and then look at them all falling down, Thank God for that. And I've been saying this since January 24th, the beginning. If you watch all my videos, you can go back. It's all pretty much, the whole run-up was there of what's coming this year. Carmageddon 2024, it's here. And it's kind of sickening, because when you, and this is what's created handlers, this behaviour has created handlers within society. And I'm going to explain a little bit more about handlers when I get into the download. But the handlers are no different to the handlers within Hollywood, within the music industry. There's always somebody pimping somebody out. It's all about making money. It's all about selling sex. It's all about vile, disgusting, evil behaviour. And what these people commit onto others, as we know, it's all coming out, allegedly. When it comes to man-made laws, we shall see just how rich they are and how much they can get away with. But some of them, it's disgusting. Because when you're sort of Gen X like me, when you've gone through the whole 80s and the whole 90s, and you're looking at, we didn't have like the internet like it was back, like now. God Lord, thank God for that. So we couldn't sort of worship them in the same way as people do today at all. We had posters on our wall, and we used to read magazines, and the only social media we had was like, oh my God, River Phoenix, oh my God, I'm so in love, I'm going to marry River Phoenix. And then, that was about, and I was young. I mean, I adored him all through high school. And then when I was 18, he died of a drug overdose, and I just don't want to know what happened to him as a child actor, because it's obvious now, and it makes me feel sick. And it's always been like that, but we didn't have that shoved in our noses. We didn't have all that instant information back then as to what we've got now. But all of these, and when it comes to like hip hop and R&B, oh God, you know what makes me feel sick? My whole teenage years and those that I've listened to, right? It's disgusting. There goes childhood and everything. Childhood gone, right? Teenage years gone. Early adulthood gone. I can't listen to anything from 2005 onwards anyway. It's crap. It started getting very crap. There was something wrong with the frequencies in the music. Obviously, it was obvious I want it now. But before then, we didn't, well, not a lot of us idolised. We looked up at people. We had legends, and now we're looking at those sort of people. Now I'm like, you've destroyed our, there goes our childhood. There goes our whole ideology of what you were supposed to represent. We looked up to you people, and you're nothing but disgusting, evil, vile perverts, paedophile. I can't. It's nice. It's nice to see them all falling down. It's about time, but I'm not really a believer in man-made justice or anything like that. I don't really like that. No, I don't really have a lot of faith in it whatsoever, because it's so corrupted, as we know. Like, you'd be amazed at how many of these evil creatures are involved. But unfortunately, with these, they have handlers. So you've got all of these celebrities with like so-called handlers who are basically pimping them out for money. Handlers make money by basically basically pimping people out. So, and I don't really like the word handler anyway, there's something very wrong with that. Because that, for somebody like me, that would be like, well, that's like somebody being around you all the time, infringing on your free will to make decisions for yourself or do what you want to do. I'm not talking about like managers and things like, I'm talking about, but then again, I won't even trust most of those in the world of entertainment or music industry anyway, because again, they make money. So what? Pimping out the celebrities and stuff like that, and pimping people out to these. It's just disgusting. So, but the download I was getting this morning, the 5th November 2024, 7:05 a.m. I actually had a little light. Well, I call it a little sleep in, but it wasn't really, because I was having to sort of see what was going on. Now, this is quite serious, because just discussing handlers in the celebrity world, I don't care about them peoples, any of them. They're all disgusting. Well, some of them are alright, but so again, handlers, they can come in female and male formation. They can pretty much, but it was something to do with dating. Like these days, the dating pool, especially online dating, apparently, what I was getting from the higher orders, it's full of handlers. So you've got these men and women, right? Online dating. I'm just gonna read out what I was getting, because it's a form of sex trafficking, right? When you become a handler, you're basically making money. It's all to do with making money, right? You don't marry handlers. You don't handle somebody and marry them because you love them. You're with them, or you're courting them, or you're in a relationship with them, or you're dating them, or you end up marrying them because there's something in it. There's something going on. There's something in it for you. It's usually a monetary or some sort of value in it for some. They don't do it for nothing. There's no love. There's no respect, because handlers don't work that way. Handlers don't respect you people, as men are. And again, I'm not talking about one particular sex. These come in both sexes, right? They don't care about, they don't love you. They don't like you. They don't respect you. Handlers don't do that. They're there to handle and manage you, right? So you've got to be very careful about who you're sort of dating in the dating pools today, because there is a lot of this is like full-blown narcissists anyway that are handlers. So you've got to be very careful about sort of how much information, when you're sort of getting to know somebody, or I don't do that online dating at all, thank God. Even that makes me feel sick, right? So that is not not my forte, but do what you want. Just be careful when you're out there online and you're online dating, because you don't know who you're dating. And if you end up with a handler, what are you going to do then? Because what seems to be happening, what I was sort of getting was, they're handling pimps. They're just handling pimps. And it's like, they get you in. Like the scenario I was seeing was, and it's not, but the majority of this problem is men on women. Because they know how they go seek out insecure women, right? So they play this whole vile, like, love bombing game, and the most beautiful thing. And it's all to do with money, what they can, like if they meet a woman who's got loads of money, she's going to be useful to him, right? For as long as she's got that money, as long as he can get something out of it, or he's going to turn her into a prostitute. Whether he sets her up on OnlyFans or anything like that, or pimps her out literally. So these are the sort of handlers that are out there right now on the dating scene, that people are getting in relationships with and marrying, and oh God. Now these are the very got to be careful with these sort of people, because they are the ones that will manipulate, emotionally manipulate, sexually manipulate, psychologically manipulate, depending on how narcissistic they are. But once they've sort of finished gaslight, they'll gaslight you. They are the biggest gaslighters and the manipulators, right? And they will continue that until they're pretty much until you're no longer useful to them. This is why they don't love you. They don't even like you. You're not anything special. They've already got victims already waiting in the making. They've already got other victims ready to basically dispose of you and be done, and then they move on to the next one. You're left like, that's it, you may lose everything depending on how vile, how bad your handler is. But they're not in it for the long haul, they're in it for the money. The problem with today, dating, and again, women are doing this too. The problem in the dating scene today is it's not about love. They don't have any self-love, so how can they love you? It's not like that. It's all to do with financial investments. You are nothing but a financial investment to these handlers and these sort of people. And that's why men get seduced by gold diggers, right? Those women aren't in it for love, they're in it for the money. Most men tend to know that anyway. But again, then you've got like a category of women today at a certain age, desperate for baby daddies, stepdads for the kids and stuff like that. And you got to be careful, because if you attract a handler, oh man, and then you don't know anything about that man's history or anything like that. You don't know if he's on a sex offenders register or anything. So there's a lot of stuff that people are just so desperate and insecure right now that they're putting themselves out there, but they're giving too much of themselves out there right now, to the point where these handlers are just like, oh my god, look at this. It's like a minefield of like, oh, what can I do with this one? What can I do with that one? But these handlers are not just men, they're women too. They're the same, they play the same game. So, and it's like these are the types of people that that are like serial daters, online daters, right? They're literally serial online daters. They can have like 2 or 3 dates a day, some of these people, men and women, and just online dates. And I'm not going to mention any particular dating sites or anything, but then they keep logs of these. They keep a log of information on the people they're dating. They take down information. They record it. And they hold on to it for manipulation reasons and tactics and everything. So any man or woman that is keeping a record of every person that they're dating, online dating, right? And keeping a full log of it, and little quirks and habits, anything that they deem is going to be useful for manipulative tactics or in the areas of handling, right? These are dangerous people. You've got to stay away from them. There's no love there. There's nothing like that. They are basically looking for the next financial investment, and you're probably going to be it. And depending on what the information they're keeping on you, you've got to be very careful. So now, there's always like subtle signs of this anyway. So, but these are the ones that will literally gaslight you, to manipulate your mind. And for the love of God, ladies or gentlemen, I don't really care at this point, do not marry these people, because the moment you marry them, depending on what state you're in or where you live, they have control over your mental health. And if they are your spouse, they can have you sectioned and everything. If they've gaslit you enough and completely turned you crazy, right? Again, they're very dangerous people, and that's their target, is that they render you absolutely useless, and then they've already got victims, already set up to take over. It's all about getting what they can out of you. So you be very careful, because that's a big problem. So yeah, there are subtle signs, and it's always at the start of new relationships. That's how and again, love bombing is a big red flag, right? And it's hard, because a lot of women are very insecure in themselves, and some men too, but women get really insecure, and they're looking for somebody to sort of emotionally bond with. So they're more susceptible to male handlers. But again, it's not just that, it's depending on what you date, whether you're gay too, it does not matter. If your partner, you've got to be careful who you're partnering up with. Just because you're dating the same sex does not mean you're not dealing with a handler. So be very careful. It's just for financial. Until you're no longer financially useful, that's it. And once you're no longer financially useful, you're going to be disposed of. You're going to be gone. That's it. They won't even look back at you. They won't think about you. You'll spend the rest of your life picking yourself up, and you're probably going to need some serious therapy for PTSD too. So this is what these people leave you in. This is how these people leave you. Traumatized. These are the traumatizers. And depending on what they get you involved in, will determine on the certain levels of PTSD you're going to be dealing with. Now, if there's physical violence involved and things like this, it can get really bad. Now, and there's a lot of physically violent handlers out there. You've got to be very careful, both sexes. So for that. Now, I'm not talking about people who get into relationships and they're trying to, and it's all about, how about we get into the swinging scene? I'm not the top. That is a red flag. You've got to be careful of that, because if you get into a relationship with somebody, right, and then all of a sudden 6 months to a year into it, they're like, oh, don't you ever want to just be a bit more taboo and like venture out and like bring people into the relationship? There's a huge red flag there. Be careful, because that's not something you would bring into a relationship in the first 6 months to a year anyway. That's usually when you're married or in a very long-term relationship, years into the relationship. That's not something in the honeymoon period at all. If a man or a woman is introducing you to that in that honeymoon first 2 year period, that's a big red flag, and you're probably dealing with a handler. So be very careful, because they're trying to see how far they can, how free and flexible you're going to be. If you can be sex selling commodity, or how much can I make from this one? Like, because if they can talk you into having orgies with people, they can most definitely convince you into opening a prostitute OnlyFans page or something like that, and then start living off you financially, or then selling you out to other people. So that is one area you want to just focus on if you're wondering if you're dealing with like a. And then again, remember, those sort of people are not fearful anywhere. They've already got victims probably in their little books, the next victims. So, but when you're getting into a relationship with somebody who wants to sort of, step out, like bring people into the marriage, these are not fearful people. These are not fearful, loving people. Look, when a man really loves you, ladies, right, he's never going to share you with any other man. When a man truly loves a woman, he is not going to share his woman that he loves with another man. And men, when a woman loves you, my God, she is not going to share you with another woman, ever. And again, depending on your preference, if your partner loves you truly, they're not going to share you with another. If they suddenly want to start sharing you around with other men or other women or other people, look, they're not faithful and they're not loyal. They just want to have sex with other people, but keep you too. And depending on, you can spice up your relationships, whatever, but there's no loyalty or fidelity there. So if you're expecting to go back to the way it was and like, I just want us now. No, one of you in that partnership is going to be like, I was enjoying it too much. I'm not giving it up. Because they were not fearful in the beginning. And that's just a huge red flag to tell you that you're going to have problems with cheating, because they're just being an honest cheat, that's all, but they're just convincing you and manipulating you into being okay with having sex. No. I'm speaking from experience, so that's where I feel about that. Now, but again, like I say, handlers do tend to use that little tactic. But again, before you know it, if you end up with a handler like that convinces you to start stepping out into the, of the relationship, again, within that honeymoon period, they've got plans. They are literally going to be pimping you out. And then again, the sort of people and if you're really insecure, they're going to be able to convince you into doing pretty much anything, like making dirty videos, taking naked pictures. And then they're going to use that against you. Whether they're going to be extorting from you, or sextortion, blackmail and all that kind of stuff. These handlers are vicious people. It's all about money. It's all about control and power. So they don't love you. They never did and they never will. So, you know, be careful. And that love bombing is a big problem. So so now what I want to do is, because I was getting that download from the higher order, apparently seems to be a big problem right now. So I'm going to be reconnecting to the highest order. I'm just going to see if my door's ready. An interdimensional door. And see if there's anything else we need to be aware of, because I feel like why do I feel like it's going to become illegal? It's going to become a law. There's going to be like a handling law. That would be hard to prove. That might be where we're going with this. Something. I don't know if it's the fall of Hollywood and the celebrity world. That's because of the amount of handlers that are involved in these sort of people. There could be something that lawmakers, or they may actually have to make a law against financially and manipulating people. Well, we know extortion's illegal, obviously, but it's hard to prove it. But there may be. Let me see what's going on. Could be this. It's clearly something big, or it's going to be important enough that the higher order's getting involved. So they're clearly seeing something that we need to see. We need to know about. Let me see what's going on. Okay. Here we go. I can see my door. Let me just go for this dimensional door. Okay. Wow. Instantly it was like abuse. It's just abuse. Okay, keep it coming. It's like, it's hard to, you'd have to get evidence. Like, you've got domestic violence. This is a slightly different type of abuse because it's coercion. So you're almost agreeing to it, even though you don't want to do it, but it's the way, it's the manipulative tactics, but you would have to keep records and everything and prove that. Because it feels like, I mean, abuse is illegal, obviously. Domestic violence is illegal, but this is becoming, it's the way it's the way it's done. It's like word language, it's the way something's said or written, but this is action, it's the way it's introduced. And most people would not. Well, they wouldn't report this because they would just immediately think like they've been agreeing. Anything that makes you feel like, oh, I don't really want to do that. And I'll tell you something, don't. This whole, if you love me, you would do it for me. Let's get rid of that piece of crap in human form. That's not love. If you love me, you would sell your body. I don't think so. Men or women. That's not love. That's pimping. And this is why men, these types of men like their women young, where they're much easier to manipulate into this disgusting behaviour. That's why they don't, no woman of a mature level who's wise now is going to tolerate that shit from any man. She's just going to tell him to go right to the curb. She's going to kick him to the curb where he belongs. Right? It's not because we're old or we're getting fat or anything like that. Or no. We're just not putting up with their abusive shit. We're not putting up with their handling bullshit, abusive shit. These are pathological manipulators. They know exactly what they're doing. And I'm not trying to aim at men. This is what women do too. It's not just but there is a big problem with men doing this. If you love me, you would do it for me. No, and older women, right, will be able to manipulate younger men with sexual manipulation first, obviously. But then they seek out insecure guys and they seek out insecure women. Now, the only woman that would really fall for this at a mature age, older age, is very insecure women that have probably been traumatized a few times and probably unhealed. Now, those sort of women can go one way or the other. They can become the abusers like that, or they can just continue to attract those worst types of men, unfortunately. It's really sad. But there's got to be a lot of healing that's got to be done, so you can sort of avoid and start to see the red flags and everything. But this is why guys, older men, like their women young, because they're easier to mould into becoming their perfect little prostitutes. It's easier for them to be their pimps, basically, their handlers. And then when they start getting older and fighting back, and I don't want to do it, and they'll start manipulating their minds. Then they'll start abusing them mentally and everything, and then basically grinding them down into nothing. So they become codependent on them. No different to how women do it too. Women do this to men too, so be careful out there. But that's why, again, older women are not going to put up with this bullshit from men at all. Right? No, we've learnt the hard way. We've been there, done it, we've got the t-shirts. Younger women don't have a clue what's coming. They don't have a clue. They go, oh, an older man, a man with money, cool, yeah. They're going to end up with a handler. And there's another reason why they like their women young too. Let's not sugarcoat that. Let's not pretend that's not real. We don't really need to go into detail, but that's usually the case too. It's like there's going to be... It is abuse, it's a form of abuse, but that would be much harder to prove. Because a lot of codependency has gone in, that they make the victim codependent on them, which is why they're agreeing. And the moment you're sort of almost agreeing to consent, that's how to prove it's You're being handled, basically. It's abuse. It becomes domestic violence and everything. But spousal abuse, but it's... I think the only way you would really be able to get evidence against a handler is if you know something's not quite right, or you truly don't want to do what they want you to do. Then you would have, and it's the way they speak, it's the way they, again, it's the language and how they present it, right? You would have to secretly record them, the way they speak, the way they talk to you and everything. It feels... It is psychological abuse, but because it's hard to prove, like, unless you have, it's much harder to prove, but it is abuse. No, and if you've been forced into becoming a prostitute, basically, you have to do, you would have to report your handler. That man does not love you, that woman does not love you, that partner does not love you. They would not want you to ever do anything like that. That's what you call a handler in the worst form. It's a pimp, a handling pimp. I don't care if you've got drug habits, I don't care if you've got alcohol habits, right? That's regardless. Again, that's one area they will use to manipulate you around with that. If you've got like an addiction, and they're going to use that addiction against you. And that's where it can get really hard. But it's something to do with dating handlers. God, they're all over. It's disgusting. Do you know, it feels really heavy. It feels like I'm just sort of seeing what I'm feel like I'm being shown is online profiles of people being looked at, and it's like people are taking notes. Ooh, this one likes this. Ooh, it's like, okay, now to mirror that. I can mirror this back. I can pretend I'm into this. It's all, I pretend I'm into that sort of stuff too. I can pretend I can play the acting card, and this one's been around the block a few times. This one's rough around the edges. This one's, it's like they're taking notes of when you're giving too much information to people you're meeting online, in the hope that they'll feel sorry for you enough to just take it, try and respect you rather than disrespect you. These are predators. These are male and female predators online. They want you to feel secure around them, to open up to them so they can handle you. And depending on, they're taking notes of what areas to play on, what insecurities you've got going on that can really tap into them. And it's okay, I'm with you now, I'll take care of you. Hell no, they're not going to take care of you. They're going to re-abuse you, re-traumatize you. These are traumatizers. And that's why the dating pool is like an insipid pool of venom and vile. It's disgusting. It's not just full of whores and degraders. It's full of these types of people. Who in the right mind wants to date online and go out dating anybody right now in this day and age? No. No. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't. There's a real dysfunctional human behaviour going on here. It's like the people are fake. Even profile pages are fake and everything, and they're what they claim they are and who they are and what they do, and it's not even... And it's all to handle people, to become handlers. The people that go out there and become handlers, these are extremely damaged people, extremely insecure, obviously, damaged, emotionally, mentally damaged people. And they don't know any other way. That's not a get out of jail card at all. That's not an excuse. Because they know exactly what they're doing is wrong, fundamentally wrong on all levels. But they don't care, because their only goal and aim is to break somebody down and destroy them, but make as much money as they can out of them in the process. That's just evil. That's not love. That's not trying to find somebody to spend the rest of your life with, or possibly marry or have children. Good God, no. God, no. And you don't want these types of men or women anywhere near your children either. It's like the internet is bad for this. This is where people are meeting handlers online. And again, online dating is a big problem. But it's like workplaces too. Like I'm feeling like a lot of people are meeting people in their workplaces. And because they spend more time at work than they do at home with their partners, or, oh, excuse me, or that's where they spend the most of the time, they're going to feel connected to people at work more than anyone else, because, and you form a bond or a relationship in the workplace, that's going to feel normal. But that does not mean that person is no less of a handler. I'm going to call this video Handling Pimps. This is just financial investments. The internet's made this it's the dark side of the internet, the worst part of the internet, because there's so many ways people can meet people and make money. Meet people. Social media. That's why there's so many social media scams. Social media, obviously we know that. But like, it's like they're active out there, and they're looking for the next victims on social media, online and stuff. And oh, this one's going through a real bad breakup, or this one's going through relationship problems. Like, let's zone in there and like make them feel they've got a shoulder to cry on. That's how people can get you too. And then, but they're looking at, well, how long will it take me to break this person down? Sorry, this person's already a bit vulnerable right now, so it won't take me too long. How now I've got to invest this level of time into breaking this person. This is how these fuckers think. Evil, twisted people, right? It's going to take me this length of time to break this person down. Okay, and then, but how much am I going to be able to make out of this person? How is it going to be worth it? And the easiest way, the most legal, fastest way for these people to make money off vulnerable people is to sell them online, sell them out, pimp them out with porn, prostitute, that area, or OnlyFans, get them on there. Nobody can prove they forced them into it, can they? No. Oh, God. Okay, anything else higher order? Because I just feel like it's going even darker now. I feel like it's going into an area where... I've heard this before. It's these parental pimps. Oh my God. Parental pimps are no different to a handling pimp. There are parents out there handling their kids, their children, letting them set up OnlyFans pages and pimping them out as prostitutes because they make a lot of money. And these parents need to go to prison. That's full-blown child abuse right there, but it's extortion. It's trafficking. That's parental trafficking. Those parents should be in prison. These handling pimps should obviously be in prison. But it's like everybody's doing it. Oh, not everybody, thank God, but it's like so many people are doing it because it's the easy and fastest way to make money. But then that just tells you exactly how many handlers are out there. And then you've got the really dangerous narcissistic or sociopathic ones that are doing it for the long haul. They're in it for the long haul. So they're like, oh, okay, well, my goal is I'm going to marry this one, right? I'm going to marry... I'm just trying to use an example. I don't really want to I'm not going to stereotype. But what I'm saying is, one's going to zone in and go, right, okay, well, this one, I'm going to play the long card here. So if I can marry this one, they'll spend 10, 15, 20 years in a full-blown relationship, and if there's marriage that takes place, that handler's got full control of that victim. So there's some that are in it for the short term, the short haul, right? But it's all about how much they can make of that and then destroy the victim. But then the sociopathic ones that are in it for the long haul, they're very dangerous. But they are no less pimps if they're into this, if they're pimping out their partners, selling sex. It's just prostitution. It's just sex. It's like a form of sex trafficking. And then when they go out there into the real world and start selling them that way too, and then going to these, we should go to these events, and there's these like secret events and secret places we can go to, and there's going to be men or women that love you there, and and then cross state lines, and it's just full-blown sex trafficking. But it's like relationship trafficking. They're handled. And how do you stop this when you don't even know you're in it? Because that's how it starts. I feel like a lot of these sex trafficking victims are the result of vile, disgusting partners meeting them and that's how it starts. And everything's online, everything's fake. Everything's pretend. You go on Instagram and it's full of prostitutes now. Thank God I got rid of that fucking thing a long time ago now. It's when you look on these social, that's all that's online. There's these types of, it's full of people that probably thought, I would never get into that, I would never do that. And then all of a sudden in the thick of it, but they're making a lot of money. So that it makes it harder to get out of, but depending on who you're with. And if you've got the worst type of pimp who's handling you, you're talking like you might not be able to get out of it. Yeah. And then you're looking up to these celebrities, and then you've got these disgusting handling pimps acting like celebrities, acting like these. God, it's disgusting. But they're all the same types of people. Just somebody's more popular than these, that's all. These are just famous. But they're all pimps. The men are pimping out women. The women are handlers, becoming handlers, finding victims for these. Again, finding constantly, always got new victims on the ready, and it's disgusting. And because it's all over this is what people are looking up to, and they think, oh, this is okay. Well, if they're allowed to do it, if they're doing it, if this is what's happening, then we can. Why can't we? Well, they share the same planet, but they live in a completely different world to you, because these people they've got money. They've got lawyers who are pimps. They're involved in the same shit. They've got people in the justice system involved in all of this. Teachers, oh my God, if you even knew what types of people are involved in this. It's all temptation and money and seduction and eating the apple. It's programming. This has been programmed into people. This is why so many people are not only doing it, but thinking it's okay to do it. This is entertainment. This is the result. This social construct of what's happening in society right now, as dysfunctional as it is a full product and the results of 30, 40 years, maybe even longer, of Hollywood entertainment, music industry, all of this fake entertainment, right? This is what people are tempted by, seduced by. And this is the result of it all. Programming. Brainwashing. I mean, it goes deeper and darker than this, but I don't want to go to the darkest side of this. I want to know eventually what can be done about this. I need the higher order to give me clarity on how do we fix this out. I don't think feels like you can't do anything, because you've got these parental pimps. You've got parents selling their children online in various different ways, not just prostitute, but the way they're selling their children online, making money off them. It's not using their children. this is what children are being raised in. They don't know anything else. And if this is the parents doing this with their children, how are you going to change a system like that? How are you going to change the programming? How are you going to change the problem? Because children don't know. That's part of their early development, is online attention, being sold out on the internet for fame, all that sort of TikTok fame and everything, and money. You would have to create a law, and in this area, I mean, you're talking, it's hard to prove. And then you've got parental pimps, not just pimping the children for its exposure. All you're going to do, you're talking about millions of people, millions of parents around the world are selling the kids online for views, likes, shares, money. You're going to arrest all of them for child abuse. But it is a form of child abuse. Well, it isn't it? The parents are not going to see it that way at all. But those parents don't even remotely have an inkling of a moral compass whatsoever. They don't have any... And this is part of that child's development. This is all that child knows. And they're going to grow up and have children, raise them to do the same thing. That's an absolute, very sad cycle. That's what's been created, is a... And that would be absolute child abuse, because when those children start getting ridiculed and destroyed online, they're not going to know how to deal with criticism. It's going to absolutely mess up their self-esteems and everything. Well, they're not going to have any self-esteem. They're going to have incredibly low self-esteem. They're not going to have any confidence, because their validation is measured on how many likes they're getting, and the comments are not going to be, they're not going to be able to, they're not raised to understand what's going on. So by the time they get to a teenage years and early adulthood, all they want to do is leave this planet, because they're completely been traumatized by the very same people, the parents who've done it to them, and infringe on their literal free will. And it's the parents' fault. They destroyed their own kids just so they can live vicariously through them, make money from them. So you've got parental pimps. Well, I'm not talking about sex pimps, but you're still a pimp. If you're making money off your children, right? I don't care whether you've got them modelling. If you've become their handler and you're managing them and you're selling them out, no, I don't like any of that. But it's a bit different. It's not like that anymore. It's different. It's very online. It's like trying to make the children famous before they've even come out the birthing canal. And they're so selfish that they just don't give a shit about what this is going to do to their children, as long as they've made them online famous for 2 minutes. And then it's the effects that I've left behind that a child's got to deal with as they get older, depending on how much they've been damaged, how much the child has been damaged, is what they will take into the adulthood. And depending on, they think becoming a handle is okay, that's what they're going to become. Because that's all they know. Because they've been raised by that. Whether you've been parentally pimped out, or you've been handled by a handling pimp, and now you're at the hands of a pathological, a psychological abuser. And you can't even educate these parents either, because they think they know everything. You can't educate them on the dangers of this, because they think they know everything. They think everything's okay, it won't happen to them. And then one day when their child gets older and a certain age, and then all of a sudden, because they've been on the internet for so long, that they've attracted a predator who's now kidnapped their child. Coerce them to, I've been watching you, oh my god, it's been disgusting. I'm like, you're a fan, but you're a 50-odd-year-old man, and I'm 7. I've been watching you, oh god, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And that's the worst type of example. But that's because they've been pimped online by their parents. It's always the children that pay for the sins of their parents, isn't it? It's disgusting. But you can't educate them, because they've been programmed already to think this behaviour is normal, to think this is okay. With social media, so it's normal, it's okay. See if there's anything else before I don't want to go any further with this, because it just feels like it's going darker, and I don't it just feels like, I'm not quite sure why I had to really go into the genesis. It's clearly something in that biblical scripture because it's the construct of Genesis, it's all broken down. Morals are broken down, there's no principles, there's no loyalty, there's no fidelity, there's no... It's all just temptation, online temptation, and what you can get out of it, how much you can make from... I'm not talking about running a legitimate business online. I'm talking about this kind of crap. I'm not talking about having a social media page or anything all. Like, no. I'm talking about this crap. This is the dark side of the internet. And I haven't even touched the surface of how bad it is. This is just how people connect with people to abuse them, to use them, to sell them. And it's always, and again, it's all to do with those, the ones you love can be your worst enemy. The ones you fall in love with are going to be your worst enemy. so sad. So incredibly sad. If you're dealing with this sort of behaviour where you've been threatened and everything, like, well, if you don't do this, I'm going to have your kids taken off you, I'm going to be mentally put in the... You just need to be gathering evidence on that person. That is an abuser. And that person needs to be in prison. Right? You need to gather evidence on this person. And then you need to have them arrested for... It's spousal abuse. It's... But you would need to be able to prove it. I don't know if I really don't want to go on. I don't want to go any further down this one. It's making me feel a bit sick, actually. So, and now I can, because if I go through another dimensional, I can see it. I don't want to go through it, because then it's going to get even darker. And I think we've got enough to deal with right now with what's really going on. You need to start seeing the truth. You need to start waking up. You need to stop worshipping. I've been saying this all year. Stop worshipping celebrities. They can't even stand you. You're nothing to them. They don't get two flying flip-flops about you. They don't care about you. They just care about your money. Keeping them famous and making them feel like they're relevant. They're not relevant. They are vile. And if you can't see that now, you're never going to see it. But then again, if you can't see that now, then you need to be questioning what's wrong with you. Because if you think their behaviour is normal and you're defending these people against crimes against humanity, you're the problem. You're part of the problem that is enabling that big time. So that's a wake-up call, and you need to start waking up. And you don't glorify human beings anyway. Don't care who they are, because they're not gods or goddesses, and they are most certainly not perfect at all. So I'm going to close this out at 6:10 p.m. Oh yeah, it's getting dark. It's getting passionate too, and I've got to get out of this energy. So, oh yeah. Okay, let me just close out with the highest order. Oh la la. Okay. If you're dealing with any of this, try and find somebody you trust that you can talk to about it and find a way to get out of it. If you start seeing the red flags or subtle signs of you probably being handled rather than loved or cared for, you need to get out of that situation as quickly as possible. And if it gets violent, or if anything like that, or abuse, you know you're dealing with serious abuse, you need to call the police. It's the only way they're going to learn. And trust me, they don't care about you. Handlers don't care about you. They only care about handling you and handling your mind and everything. As for the parental pimps, I can't even go there with those people. So, no. But yeah, just reach out to people. There's resources out there too as well for any type of abuse. So, and if you feel like you've got nothing to live for or anything like that, seek out suicide lines and things like, please don't suffer in silence. And it's weird because I was having a conversation about how I felt like this before in the past, and how you want to just go, just not forever. Well, that's what it's like. So please don't suffer like that. Reach out to people. There are lines you can call, and just trust me. Don't suffer in silence. Tell somebody, but as long as you trust them. But don't give up. You can always start again. And remember, if you're the victim of this, you're not the problem. It was not your fault. You were just managed and handled by a very disgusting, evil human being. Because only disgusting, evil human beings do this kind of crap. So, and if they tell you, well, this is just the way it is these days. No, it's not. It's only going to be that way, and it's only like this if you allow it. This is a behaviour that you want to enable if you go, oh yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, everybody's like this, everybody's doing this. No, they're not. A lot of people are, right? Because nobody's stopping it or standing up to it, that's all. So, but this isn't how it's supposed to be. This isn't, no. And then find a way to just work on self-love, right? When you start really sort of like understanding who you are and what you deserve, and you won't take less than what you deserve, or try and build up yourself, you know, your confidence again, and really sort of heal. And even if it means being alone, right? You will not attract these people when you change, when you heal yourself, because you're going to know what you're worth, and then you're going to see these red flags, and and the moment and when you know your own self-worth, and you're like, I'm not going to tolerate that, I'm not going to deal with that. And then when you get somebody that tries it, and you're like, get out, go away immediately, they're going to go, because they've already got they've got other victims ready to pounce on. So just don't be another victim of them. But unfortunately, I wish I could tell every single person, man and woman, that has to deal with this, don't be these psychopathic people's victims. These are vile people. But this is what they do. And again, some of them are in it for the long haul, and some are in it just for the short haul, depending on how much they can get from it. They don't do it out of love, and they don't do it for nothing. They're just looking at people like financial investments. And that's unfortunately why a lot of gold diggers stick around with the worst types of men, because it's all about what they can get out of it. They're no different, no less of a financial investment. That's all. It's just different ways of how they handle their victims. What can I get out of this one? That's all. Men and women. Gold diggers aren't just women these days. Gold diggers are men. It's getting really bad. So, and just be careful how much information you're putting out on yourself online, and especially on these dating sites and things like this, because again, you've got these people taking notes on people and knowing how they can work their way in. So be very, very careful. Don't say too much to people when you're getting to know them. Hold a lot of your past back. Your past is none of their business anyway. But don't tell them about your past. Excuse me. Because they'll use it against you. Before you know it, you're getting traumatized again. So please, peoples, be very careful out there. And that dating pool, it's insipid. It's like cesspool. And it's definitely not for me. But you enjoy it, and each to your own. So other than that, I'll see you all again very soon. Ciao, ciao.